Alright, Shalom, Shalom. This is Brother Mayum coming at you from GMS Tampa Bay. First and foremost, I want to give all the praise and all the glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachaha Kwadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone. Much blessing and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out this truth and its truth and sincerity. And I just want to do a quick video on this clip one of the elders has sent out earlier in the WhatsApp, and hey man, at this point, we're at a time, we're on a time frame. We're at a time in history where it can no longer be said that the men that have been telling you the RFID microchip is the mark of the beast that is spoken of in Revelation chapter 13. Those men, we're at a time where it can't be said that these men weren't right. All right, and I'm speaking on the men of the Lord, the men that serve Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Okay, the prophets, starting from the apostles on down. Okay, we've been out on the highways and byways for decades at this point, and we have spoken unto you, but you have not danced. All right, let's just get that first and foremost. And Ezekiel 33 and verse 32, it said, well, I'll read 30. Yes, I'll start at verse 30. It says, also, thou son of man, the children of thy people still are talking against thee by the walls. And see, the main people that we have problems with, for the most part, are Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. When we're out on the highways and byways, all right, prophesying, because that's what we do. To prophesy means to say before, and what we're telling you is what's to come. So we are prophesying. All right, we go into the scriptures, and we correlate what's happening on the earth today with what the Lord said thousands of years ago. All right, what he told his disciples. All right, what the Lord spoke to his men. All right, which they wrote down, like it tells us in Habakkuk chapter 2. All right, write the vision, make the vision plain upon tables, that he who readeth may run. So we've been telling you that there was going to be a device that was going to be, instituted into everyday lives, to where access is going to be cut off to, pretty much everything. Okay. And unless you had this implantable device inside of you, you would not be able to partake in what at that time period is going to be called society. Okay, because right now, we're in, 2026. This is, we're getting close to the end of July, a couple days away, and, to the end of the July. And, we're still able to go out and about and, partake. If you want to use the internet, if you want to, whatever, you have access to essentially everything that's at your, within, reach, that's reasonable. And we're coming into a time period to where if you don't have this implantable device inside of you, the RFID microchip, all right, which in the Bible is known as the mark of the beast, for those of you that don't know. But if you don't have this thing inside of you, you're going to be asked out. Okay, you're going to be asked out, man. And a lot of people are going to try to resist. You're going to have some people that are going to be like, nah, man, I'm not with that. Outside of the brothers in the truth, people of the world, they're going to be, there's going to be a good portion that's going to fight back. But eventually it's going to get to a point to where that strain and that need for survival is going to be so, so high that people are going to fold under the pressure. Okay, people are going to give in. And that time period of giving in is going to be known as the hour of temptation. Okay, some people's hour of temptation is going to come sooner than others, but There's going to be a breaking point for everyone except for the elect. All right, the Lord has, set aside a remnant of his people, all right, who are Israelites, that will resist the devil, even if it means death. Okay? But the Lord sent out his men to tell you these things. And a lot of y'all, have thought this to be a joke. All right, you've laughed at us. You've scorned us. You misused us. You mistreated us. With the knowledge that we've been given from the Heavenly Father to teach. And it's just gonna be bad for you, man. To make it simple. Your lack of appreciation for what the Lord is doing by trying to extend the hands of mercy to you through his prophets is the Lord is going to be pissed off, man. All right, so this is Ezekiel 33. It said, verse 30, also thou son of man, the children of thy people still are talking against thee by the walls, and in the doors of the houses, and speak one to another, every one to his brother, saying, come, I pray you, and hear what is the word that cometh forth from the Lord. And they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness. You see? And that's what, for the most part, our people do, man. They hear what we're saying, but them people they don't change nothing. They don't do nothing about what we're telling them. And really the thing that you have to do is just prepare yourself, man. All right. For the most part, the majority of the remnant that's going to be delivered are not prophets, man. Okay. Your job is not to go out to the downtowns, the chief places where people go. Your job is not to go out there and teach like we do, like the prophets do. Your job is simply to believe and to have faith, man. It's not even hard. But you got to have an understanding that the things that you see in society, they're going to be taken from you. The access to these things are going to be taken from you, and you have to have the mental fortitude to resist these things. Okay, to resist the feelings of missing out, the FOMO. Okay, you got to resist that spirit. Okay, and it said, for with their mouth they show much love, or so like it says, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them, man. And that's what it is, man. They're not preparing themselves mentally, man, and that's what you have to do. It's like you got to prepare yourself mentally for what the Lord is going to have, come here to the earth, man. This isn't something to take lightly. This is deadly serious. And that's what the majority of our people don't consider, man. Okay? You can laugh all you want, you can, mock all you want, but what's going to happen if we're right? Okay? And guess what? The devices is out there. The RFID microchip technology and the capabilities and the connectivity to the current systems that are being put online, it's all there, man. It isn't anything but a flip of a switch for access to be cut off and access to be granted to those only that have followed after what these devils want you to do, man. It's that easy. The infrastructure is already there. The technology's been created. The programs are in place. Everything's in place, man. It's just a flip of a switch that we're waiting on. Okay? But continuing on, verse 32, and it says, and lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that hath a pleasant voice, and can play well on an instrument, for they hear thy words, but they do them not. See, and a lot of y'all take the ministry as a joke, man. Y'all don't take this thing serious. Okay? You think that this is some form of entertainment, and you know that we're wasting our time by going out onto the, you know, to the corners downtown or wherever brothers may be going to teach. You consider this a waste of time because you think in your mind this is just a pastime. This isn't a pastime. This isn't something we do just to pass the time, man. We take this deadly serious. Okay, but it goes on to say, verse 33, and when this cometh to pass, meaning the prophecies, lo, it will come, then shall they know, then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. You're going to realize when these things fully get implemented and get pushed out there on the mainstream, for you to have access to daily, you know, things of that, you know, that are part of life, you're gonna remember these words, man. Not, you know, not from me in particular, but from the prophets in general. Okay, and I'm gonna play a little clip, you know, that the like I said, like that the elder sent out, and you're gonna see, you know, this is what the higher ups of the world are talking about, man. These are the things that they're going on about, that they're speaking on. Okay, so you know, because again, Revelations 13 verse 15, 16, 17, 18 all talk about the mark of the beast, man. Okay, and what is that? You know, in Revelations 13 and 17, it says that no man might buy or sell. Okay, is not everything going to digital forms of payment? Hello? Is anyone there? Wake up, man. The shit is happening. The chip is out there, man. It hasn't been pushed upon you yet. All right? So let me go ahead and play this clip and we'll close out with this. And like I said, this is going to be short.
Remember this slide from my last year's talk. The World Economic Forum envisioned your digital ID in the center of your life, essential to accessing modern financial systems and interwoven into everyday life. If the state knows who you are and what you do, they allow you to function. Here's the sequence being built around your digital ID step by step. Step 1, chat control. Government's push to scan private messages, a voluntary version passed in November 2025. Step 2, age verification. The EU's app launched in April 2026. France is going to ban under 15-year-olds from social media by September this year. Denmark, Spain, Greece are all following. Step 3, VPNs. EU commissioners warned that the system must not be circumvented, and France's digital affairs minister said VPNs are next on my list. If these proposals become law, private internet access will effectively be illegal in Europe.
See, if they become law, access to private internet will be unlawful. So, you know, there's such a thing known as the Internet of Things. Okay, the Internet of Bodies. All right, where technology is connected to the internet. You are connected to the internet, or you will be connected to the internet. Okay, your toaster, your washer, your thermostat, your doorknob, your garage door opener, all these things and more connect to the internet. So if access to private internet is unlawful without the proper channel and the approval, what do you think that means? Okay, it's not your credit card, your debit cards, your bank account, all that tied to the internet. How are you able to see your bank account on your phone through the internet? How is a credit card or a debit card machine able to communicate with your card to access information from your bank? The internet. What happens when a store's internet goes down? They can't make any sales. They have to take only cash. And guess what? That's very far. That's a very few and far away, far apart. You hardly ever see that happen anymore, man. People have backup generators just so that the internet don't go down. A storm go through and knock out the power. People are losing their damn minds. Not because their food is in the refrigerator is going to spoil if the power don't come back on, but because the internet is down. They can't watch Netflix. They can't get on their phone and go scrolling. You see? Everything about your life is geared around the internet. Okay? The World Wide Web. Okay? That net that has been cast over your entire life. That's a part of that trench that these devils have put around you to entrap you. Okay? That's what they have done. Okay? But you have been so blinded that you failed to see this for what it is. Okay? Let's finish off this clip here.
And privacy tools criminalized under the banner of child protection.
See? Under the banner of child protection. See? I'm telling you straight up. It's like you. I'm telling you straight up that they're hiding it under safety. Behind the idea of peace and safety, man. In which, the scriptures tell you that when they shall say peace and safety, then come and sudden destruction. So that's what's going to come, man. Sudden destruction. Okay? Keep going.
The argument for centralized digital ID assumes that the state is a
Centralized digital ID. What does centralized mean? All apart, one place, one point of access. Okay, everything put together. Everything's gonna be connected, and this is the New World Order. The shit that everybody used to laugh about. Oh, you a conspiracy nut. Well, this is what's now been set up before your very eyes, and you just didn't see it happening. Matter of fact, you become complacent and are now subject onto this New World Order. It just hasn't been fully pushed out there for you to say, oh yeah, well, it is a New World Order. Okay, you're still under the illusion of, this is just how society has progressed. Okay.
competent and benevolent custodian of your most sensitive data. France just proved both assumptions wrong in one afternoon.
See? So there you go, man. All right? They're trying to put this into law, man. And as always, the rest of the world is always ahead of America. So by the time it gets to America, these things are already perfected. Okay? So, hey, Lord's will, this was edifying. You know, the days are short, man. You know, the day of the Lord is nigh at hand. All right, so I want to give all the praise and all the glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, and much blessing and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out this truth and sincerity. With that, I say Shalom.